Hello, my name's Maddy Harland and I'm the editor of Permaculture magazine, and I'm here with Looby Macnamara.
Hi folks, I'm Looby Macnamara. I wrote People in Permaculture with Maddy as my editor, and we've decided to continue our collaboration together and work with empowering women with permaculture. So we've been running courses and writing articles and sharing thoughts, and we'd like to share with you today why we think empowering women is important. So Maddy, would you like to share some of your thoughts?
So the first thing I would say is that we think that we live in a world that's completely equal and simple, or we can do, but it isn't. And statistically, there are lots of reasons why it's useful to have an empowering women course. Particularly as if we think my grandmother's generation didn't even have the legal right to vote. My mother's generation didn't have the legal right to get a university degree until after the Second World War. So our story as women in terms of inequality is quite recent, and there's all sorts of other reasons as well. Having said that, I would also say that we want to empower men too. So this isn't just about women, this is about empowering women and men empowering themselves and people becoming more empowered. Because when we have a world where people feel able to respond, act and engage in the world, then we have a world that's much more democratic, self-determining and participatory. So that's how I would begin a conversation about this subject.
Yeah, Maddy, I think it's really important that we all of us find our voices so that we can speak up for the social and environmental injustices that are happening throughout the planet at the moment. And the more we find our voices, the more we're able to speak up for those that are voiceless, for the other beings and the other people around the world that don't have the same kind of access to opportunities that we might have. That it's really important that we're able to do that, and the more we can be empowered, the more we can challenge the status quo and find solutions for ourselves and for others. And so it's very much the empowering women. It works on individual level and collective level as well. How do we bring forth this more equal world that you're sharing about? So Maddy, I'd like for you to share a bit though what permaculture has to offer to this conversation, this process of empowering ourselves, because there's lots of empowering sort of opportunities out there. What can permaculture offer to us?
I think what permaculture can offer is quite significant, because permaculture is a framework, it's a design framework, and it's very holistic. It looks at earth care, as you mentioned there, but it looks at the social aspect. It looks at also that reciprocity, that idea of fair shares, of living on a finite planet, and sharing between people, both in our local community and in the wider world. And because it's got that design framework, when we sit down and we talk about women's empowerment, when we can work on our own personal empowerment program using permaculture ethics and design principles. We can work on a community level as well, which you mentioned. But we have this mapping tool. So we're not just meeting together as a group and sharing our insights and our inner processes and a few useful tools taken from different parts of our experience and our wisdom. We're also meeting as a group of people, as a group of women, and having this very designed framework that has a process and a set of steps and then an outcome. And maybe, Looby, you'd be the best person to elaborate a little bit on that process and why it works so well.
Yes, so what Maddy's talking about there is that, well, there's many design frameworks we can use within permaculture, and the one we use for this empowering women is the design web, which I created while I was writing People in Permaculture, and it is a very holistic way of looking at things and seeing how things connected, and making these realistic and flexible and achievable action plans for ourselves, and these design, really embedding the design thinking into our lives, so that it's an experience that carries forth with us, that we carry this design out into the world to really make some changes in our own lives. So it's a very empowering tool to be able to be proactive, and I think that's, for me, permaculture is very much about being proactive rather than reactive, and how can we really proactively grow those ethics in our own lives, in our communities, in the world. And that's, for me, the really good sort of the heart is starting with the ethics, and then the design is how we can meet those ethics in a conscious, proactive way. So that's really, I think, what we're kind of bringing to the table with permaculture here, that maybe isn't present in other circles.
And I think there's something very beautiful about that, because you can read about it, you can study it, but when you actually do it, you really embody it. So we want the people that participate in these courses to go away and have a design and have an action plan and have those steps forward that will take them to a greater sense of wholeness and engagement, and a sense that they can do what they want to do, you know, obviously within sensible limitations, but feel genuinely experience that empowerment, so that they can be, I mean, ultimately we want to be better servants for this beautiful planet, but to do that we have to get our own houses in order.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. Well, I really look forward to our time together at Applewood as well, which is, you were one of the first people here last year when we just moved in, but looking forward to hosting you again.
And let me just say that Applewood is the most gorgeous permaculture site in Hereford, with fantastic woodland, beautiful pasture, its own lake, and just being there in itself is a healing and wholesome experience, and a lovely sense of community as well, that the whole experience builds on. So we have got more details that will be at the end of this short video, and thank you very much for tuning in and listening to us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.